All right, you're locked into MMA Canada and very excited to be chatting to a pair of individuals who are locked in for a fight that people are understandably calling the biggest in Canada right now, which goes down on June the 14th. It headlines Unified MMA 58 and is for the Lightweight Championship. With Unified, we have Tom O'Connor and Ramil Kamilov stepping into the cage, and great getting to have both of these individuals on the show. How are you lads doing today? Thank you for making the time.
We're 10
Let
days
Ramil
out,
go.
never been better.
Yeah, doing good. Excited to get after it.
Yeah, and it's cool that it still was able to, I guess, be salvaged in a certain sense. Like, I mean, these things happen in MMA, obviously, just with injury getting in the way of the prior booking in December. Like, what was the excitement level realizing that the rebooking could happen and arguably on an even bigger stage now with higher stakes?
There's no bigger fight, I think, to make for either one of us. I think we both wanted this more than anybody else. I really like the fact that we're the two top guys in Alberta. I'd say we're the two best prospects in Canada. There's obviously vets that have shown a little bit more than either of us, but as far as prospects go, people that haven't got their UFC chance, people that are still in prime age, I think me and Tom are right up there.
Yeah, I agree 100%. I think that top tier and we're right at that level where there's nothing really holding us back other than a big fight like this is the only thing really keeping us here is like something that has this kind of level of excitement. And yeah, for Alberta and Canada MMA, it's just fireworks.
Yeah, for sure. And both of you guys out of such quality gyms, Champions Creed and Progressive Fighting Academy and everything like that. So love to see that. And like you guys articulated, it's like, great athletes in Alberta and also Canada by proxy and everything.
For sure, man, for sure. I got a lot of respect for Brad Wall. I think he's a high level coach. He's been around forever. I think he presents himself very well, very respectful, very professional. PFA has produced some great athletes over the years, some good fighters. So I'm excited to test my skills. With that said, I'm from Champions Creed. We're fighting for the top spot in Canada. We have training partners of all levels, but even in the pros, I think we got close to 10 active pros currently. It's a Shark Tank every day. I've been in Vegas. I've trained in Russia and stuff, and the room that we have is truly world class. And I don't think that wherever he's training, PFA, be it, or Dynamic MMA, where he goes to spar, I don't think it compares to what I have.
Yeah, I think same. I got a lot of respect for Champions Creed. It's obviously a very high level team, world class, and but yeah, the people that I'm surrounded by, I'm really grateful for, and I know how strong they are, and the coaches staff that I have, and just the team members I have around me, and the training partners, the level they are, and then just man, the gem that is Alberta MMA, man. There's a long history here of high level mixed martial arts, and yeah, I think it's cool to see these two top gyms go at it and get after it.
Yeah, well, that
Yeah.
said, this is likely one of the biggest fights in Alberta history, now that I think of it.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, I guess I'm curious to get both of your respective thoughts on why that might be, because understandably, a lot of, attention and rhetoric has been centric on just how big of a fight this is and it representing, not just the biggest in Alberta that you could make, but also in terms of the biggest in Canada by proxy. Like, there's a title on the line here. It's with like what a lot of people understandably would consider the premier show in Canada right now. Like, there's a lot of fun machinations to the matchup with both of your styles, but I guess just curious to hear from both of you why you guys see this as like one of the biggest fights in Alberta's history and like one of the big fights, if not the biggest fight that can be made in Canadian MMA right now.
I'm a real analytical guy. I'm a big numbers guy, so the first thing that jumps out is both of our records, our professional records, were pretty high level, both on the cusp of UFC. I think we're both in the top 5% of regional fighters worldwide, and yeah, like I said, just really the records, our performances so far, but at the same time, neither of us has faced a high level opponent like each other, in my opinion, and won anyways. But that's about it for how I see
I
it.
think too, I think it's big too, our finish rate, not just our records, but the way that we fight and the styles that we bring to the fight is we have a style that both of us have this style that can transfer to the highest level in MMA in any organization, UFC or you name it. Like our styles can compete with anyone in the world. And so that clash of style, I think, is really exciting for people, but also just the finish rate. We both bring a devastating finishing rate. So
I think a real interesting moment, he did say our styles is both of us push hard on the pressure. You know, he comes out first round, he's always going hard. Me as well, I'm always pressuring. Both of us really use our gas tanks to the full potential. I think we're both more on the side of endurance athletes, with me being a little bit more explosive, Tom being a little bit more constant work rate type of guy. So that's an interesting thing to match up, like to look at as well.
yeah, I agree.
Yeah, that is a fair point. And I mean, you guys kind of touched on it in an interesting way there, because usually when I do one-on-one interviews with fighters, I usually try to gauge what their, I guess, maybe predominant visualization of how they see the fight ending or playing out in general. I mean, I feel like I don't even have to ask that with both of you guys. I mean, your track records speak for themselves and everything, right?
Yeah, we know what the other one's trying to do, and we know what we're trying to do, and it's just gonna be who breaks.
Yeah, and you both have talked about it in kind of an interesting way too, in the sense of like you realize like the level of the other fighter, and you're ultimately like, yeah, I mean, it doesn't do anything for my growth to be fighting guys that aren't at that, higher level that are gonna test my mettle. So I love to see that. Like there's a certain mutual understanding in that regard. And I mean, just very interesting in the context of you guys bringing up the pace too, just to see how all of that will play out. Like I imagine the preparations have been very mindful of all those factors. And I mean, yeah, not to like even run ahead with, looking at things down the line because this is a championship fight, etc. But it was even kind of mentioned earlier, like the potential stakes for like a UFC opportunity hereafter. Like I feel like Unified is really becoming a platform for either people vaulting to contender series or just to the UFC outright. So that has to be an exciting proposition for you guys, like while staying grounded in the immediate matchup, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
It's the biggest show in Canada. Go ahead. Go, you're good, bro. Go ahead.
I can't think too far past this fight. I never think too far past this fight. People ask me what we're gonna do for celebration after, and I got no answer for them because all I care about is going in there. And when you go in there, it's like another world. Then once you're out of there, it's like you leave that dimension, and then you can relax. And it's a funny thing. People always want to celebrate after they're very high energy, but Tom will understand that after a fight, you just put in however many weeks, however many months of preparation, and you just had a big release of all that energy. And when you get out the cage, everyone's on a different wavelengths than you are. Everyone's all energetic and possibly intoxicated, whereas you just want to chill and relax, maybe wear some flip flops and just lounge around.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, well, I mean, me and Tom were even kind of talking about this like a bit before the call. Like, I really do have a lot of, I guess, appreciation for, I mean, what I guess I can only imagine you guys go through in a certain sense, just like how locked in you are to a particular opponent, a night, a task, like however you want to phrase all of the different tendrils associated with it. So, yeah, that's fair enough. I imagine like it's like quite a maybe relief isn't the right word, but like even like a decompression once the fight is over and things have wrapped up with that and all.
Just a exchange of energy, man. It's just the build up and like we were talking about before, it's 24/7 Ramil. Like my mind is focused on June 14th. Nothing, nothing pulls you away from that. And so it's 24/7. Go to bed, sleep, think about it, eating, thinking about it, and the build up. I love it, but that doesn't mean it's easy. And so you're on it exactly like Ramil said. Afterwards, you just want to throw flip flops on, sit back and relax, enjoy the work that you put in. But yeah, it's just energy, exchange of energy.
Yeah, it's a funny thing, there's been a lot of talk, mostly from my side, coming up to this, and who knows what happens after. I hope we're all good after. I hope I'm all good with this gym after. you know, we see it all the time where fighters, they fight right after, they're respectful in the moment, and then afterwards, you know, some sort of falling out happens. I really genuinely hope that doesn't happen. But whatever happens after the fight, there's very few people that understand what we go through, and no matter which way you spin it, it's going to be a very intimate moment that is shared inside the cage that only really, like, very few people understand. Only me and Tom will share this moment. And I think that the higher level of a fighter you become, the more fights you become, because each fight, each preparation, it takes a little bit of your soul out of you. So each one of these fights, you inch away further and further from the normal person, and you have less and less in common with the average Joe. It's kind of, if you think of it in a way, it's sad, but in another way, that just makes us closer to one another.
Yeah, it's very well put. And it's like he said earlier, it's another dimension in there. And you can watch it from the outside, but it's not, you don't understand unless you're in there. And so yeah, it's a special thing, but exciting. And all that time and work put in, that it's what we always, he works with a lot of young athletes as well, and inspiring a lot of youth athletes, and that's same for me. And it's an awesome thing, but that's something you want to instill in them, is understanding that the hard work is worth it. And you know, that's a lot of, everybody talks about that, but you really feel it, and really putting in that hard work and nonstop effort and drive and focus towards your goals. And that's what I and I think Ramil wants to inspire in a lot of those youth athletes and other people, is the value and the worth of the hard work put in when you're pursuing something. And at the end, yeah, whatever way it goes, and I think there's respect on both sides. I know my respect for Ramil because of the work I've put in for this fight. The amount of work in this fight camp is more than I've ever put in, and so right there alone shows the level of respect I have and the excitement I have for this opportunity.
Yeah, and I mean, you guys have articulated it very well. Like, MMA is such a curious sport to, I think, people that don't, I guess, regularly consume it or have checked it out in any kind of like particularly impassioned way for a certain period of time. So I think optics wise, they're like, oh, these guys are getting out there and fighting each other. But as much as you guys are individually focused in your growth, it's like the quality of your opposition does inform your own respective growths. And like you said, both of you inside that cage will share moments and just really an overall moment together that only the two of you will really understand. So yeah, it's a curious set of dynamics in a lot of regards, as you guys touched on.
For sure. Well, with that said, I'd like to get into a little bit of the fight and how we match up, because I'm interested to see how Tom sees this thing. It's always very interesting, because I've had fights before where people think they're better in the striking and the grappling and everything, and then I'm like, what eyes are you watching this with? Because I don't see that at all. So I'm interested to see what's Tom's thoughts on this matchup.
Yeah, my thoughts on the matchup are, I'm bringing constant pressure. I think that the game you bring and the aggression that you bring and the skill level behind all of that, and as we've both been improving every single fight, and so I think, yeah, the aggression is that you're bringing is one of the most important and valuable attributes in combat sports, is that vicious aggression and pressure. And my game plan, nothing changes. It's just, I got to make it better than it's ever been. I got to perform what I do best, and just that's going to be wave after wave of pressure and conditioning and emptying the tank, and see if you have as deep a tank as I have.
Do you think you'll be able to get there if I set my range really well on you? I don't
Yeah,
think you'll be able to push forward like that.
Yeah, momentum wise, I'm gonna try and be early on, right off the bat, not let you set your range at all. So moment, we'll see who sets their range earlier.
Yeah, it's so interesting, just like the, attributes both of you guys have. And I mean, you guys kind of even touched on it there in talking about this fight. It's really almost who, I guess, implements their game plan right from the rip. Like, it strikes me as a fight that neither of you guys can really, like, I'm trying to find a way to phrase this. Like, I guess, like, settle into with like a period of time, within the cage. Like, it's not really a matter of just getting out there and, kind of like getting a certain sense of comfortability early on. It's more about who like right from the rip kind of implements their game plan. Like, is there a
100%. It's already begun.
So you see a lot of momentum changes, Dylan, do you?
Yeah.
I mean, it's a very interesting fight. I mean, I truly have no idea. I mean, I'm just looking forward to, keeping it in general. But I guess what I was trying to say is it strikes me as a fight where it's like about who just implements what they're looking to do right from the jump, as opposed to like settling in. And obviously you guys will collect a certain amount of intel as the fight goes along, but it seems paramount that each of you tries to implement your respective game plans almost instantaneously, I would think. Like maybe comfort as a secondary consideration, or acclamation is maybe a better word, perhaps.
Well, he's free to test his assumptions at his own risk, but those actions will have consequences on June 14th.
Yeah, it's the name of the game. Yeah. Risk and reward, baby. Let's go.
Yeah, it's just so interesting. And you kind of touched on it a bit earlier, Ramil. Like you were saying, there was like a little bit of, I guess, like banter on social media, and you're kind of looking to like keep the, I guess, respect dynamic thereafter large in part. I guess the way I kind of look at that is just like, just seems like both of your personality types. Like, I mean, it seems like you're kind of just having a bit of banter, a little bit of fun, whereas Tom's like maybe just kind of chilling comparatively, like, oh, that's cool, that's fun, that's not really my deal so much. But yeah, it kind of seems like a personality thing, or maybe an interfacing with social media style of a thing, I guess.
Well, for me, I like to practice. Hopefully, God willing, one day I make it into the UFC, and I like to practice this sort of trash talk and selling the fight. I did it the first time around because Tom was a little bit slow to sign the contract, so it was just used as a strategy to pressure him. This time around, he signed the contract right away, so there really wasn't a reason to do it so much. And on top of that, I've been in Canada for 13, 14 or so years now, and I want to help build the Canadian MMA scene. So I kind of want to move away from talking trash to other Canadian fighters. There's enough Americans out there that can get it from me, and enough people, outside of that in the world in general. So I'd like to keep my relationships in Canada a little bit better, so I can help grow the scene out here, give back to the community and the martial art that changed my life forever. And yeah, for that reason. But with that said, it's even on this interview, I'm trying to be respectful and be good, but it just slips out once in a while. I really like to talk trash. I can't. I wish I was more of a humble type of guy. It's a lot more celebrated in society, but it's just how I am, and there's nothing I can do about it. I've tried to fix it, but it's just too much fun to talk trash.
Yeah, I thought it was all good fun. I mean, the contract one is I hadn't seen the contract yet. It was still getting worked out, but I thought it was all fun, and I thought it was all pretty classy and funny and well done. I mean, like you said, personality wise, it's just not something I do, but it's I don't have anything against it. I enjoy it, and I enjoy it as part of the game and the sportsmanship level. And there's yeah, I think it's a part of what makes MMA exciting, but it's just not my style. But I still do enjoy it. Yeah.
Yeah, and
These
that's
are
kind of how
the
it's, yeah.
all of these things are the things that make MMA the most exciting sport on the world to watch, and such a great entertainment aspect. But yeah, that's why it's so fun.
Yeah, for sure. And that's kind of how I was trying to phrase it almost. It's no like right or wrong kind of methodology necessarily. It's just each of you guys is kind of doing your own thing. And I mean, I guess this is probably not even within your guys' focus in any kind of way, but I guess just even adding to, I guess, the magnitude of the fight or the idea of what this represents. I mean, kind of cool that Unified is doing two shows like cross country and everything like that, with this Edmonton show looming and then a show in Toronto as well. I mean, it's obviously been broadcast on UFC Fight Pass for a bit now, but just some other cool variables kind of attached to it, maybe from like an outsider perspective more than what you guys would be allocating your focuses to, I guess.
Sure, yeah, that's cool. That's more of the promoter side of things. I don't really care too much about it. I just care about the fight itself. We'll see how it does for Unified if they decide to do it again. There's definitely positives to it. There's drawbacks, I think, too. like splitting the attention between two events, but we'll see how it works out for them.
Yep, agreed. It's first time doing it, so see how it pans out. It'll be an exciting night for fight fans if they can catch both and watch all of it. Edmonton's going to be buzzing that whole weekend. We're going to blow the barn off that place. There's 2 NHL playoff games, and ours is going to be bigger. You know, that middle fight, that fight night main event is going to be even bigger. So focus is all on June 14th.
Yeah, for sure. I'm definitely stoked for both of those cards, really showcasing the great talent that we have across the Canadian MMA scene for sure. But I appreciate both of you making some time to take part in this today. Like I was kind of saying from earlier, but echoing again, definitely want to be mindful of both of your guys' presumably busy schedules and everything like that. So just figured I'd give you both the floor and see if each of you had a final parting thought you were hoping to add as we're kind of wrapping up here with MMA Canada.
Yeah, I know that Tom's preparing very hard for this fight, as am I, but I just don't see it going his way. I just see myself as bigger, better, stronger, faster, fitter, younger, cleaner, leaner, cooler, smarter, taller, more skilled, better looking, stronger heart, better trained, more will to win, more interesting.
Wow.
I'm from the better
Has
city.
to go
My
to go
shoes
to
are
taller,
better.
eh?
Strikes are
Hey, you
faster,
haven't seen my
more
shoes.
technical.
You haven't seen my shoes, bro. I got some nice Nikes. I got a nice Christmas present, bro.
Yeah, I rock the Adidas. Way fresh.
Yeah, see, hey, whoa. Now let's look at the numbers here. You're a numbers guy.
Yeah, I'm a numbers guy. Numbers don't always reflect it accurately.
Yeah. True. There you go.
Mhm.
Yeah, I am. I'm excited for the fight, and I'm looking to bring a level of me and my game that you haven't seen yet, and yeah, continue leveling up. And I think Ramil is a great opponent to pull that out of me.
Yeah, and one last thing. Now that he says this, I have seen some big improvements in the last few fights. In the fight with Shintani, I think that Tom did some very good studying of my style. So he came with a good game plan. He was able to block off a lot of things that Shintani did that I usually do. But the thing is, there's things that I do in martial arts that haven't really been seen in my pro career. There's things I did in the amateurs, but that footage is a little bit hard to get a hold of. And I'm bringing a few of those things back, and is going to be something that is very, very rarely seen in MMA that I'm hoping to showcase.
Well, I think I can speak for the entirety of the Canadian MMA scene from what I can tell in terms of like the excitement seeing both of you guys get out there and showcase the skills that you have. And very fitting that this is the main event for the lightweight championship. And definitely excited to see Unified MMA 58 go down on June the 14th. But also wanted to thank both of you for making the time. And yeah, I'll be checking it out. Looking forward to seeing how everything plays out. Should be an exciting one. And both of you have a great rest of your day too.
Yeah, you guys as well.
Thanks. You guys have a good day.
Thank you. Goodbye.